gang. My name's Sheila Bassfinder. I'm with Supermoms, and I want to welcome you here today. Thanks for joining Automation Studio. Vicki and Mark have done an excellent job of pulling all this together. Today, you are here to talk with Tony. Okay, I stopped because I'm going to butcher it. Zupancic. Is that
Yep,
right?
perfect.
Okay, Zupancic. He's going to be sharing about a tool that he's developed called Builder. And so his topic for today is a better Salesforce Marketing Cloud workflow with Builder. So Tony, I'm going to let you take it away. I've got recording going and I'm going to shut down my presentation or myself. Okay.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you guys for joining me today. As mentioned, we're going to talk about a tool that I've been developing for Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And I guess I should clarify it's for Salesforce Marketing Cloud engagement. So the Salesforce Marketing Cloud as we once knew it. So my name is Tony Zupancic. I am a Salesforce Marketing Cloud developer at Avigate. I've been in the Salesforce Marketing Cloud ecosystem for around 5 years. I am part of the Marketing Champions program. I am a co-founder and an admin for How to SFMC. And in addition to development that I've done within Salesforce Marketing Cloud, I like to do a lot of web application development and just standard web development. So before I get into what Builder actually is and how it can be used for your workflow, I want to talk about a little bit about the inspiration behind Builder and what really kind of drove us to want to develop this development tool and this tool for Salesforce Marketing Cloud. As mentioned, I've been in the ecosystem for about 5 years. I've touched every aspect of Salesforce Marketing Cloud, from HTML development for emails, campaign management, automated processes in Automation Studio, Journey Builder, and most recently, custom cloud page development. In all of those areas, there's a couple of things that Salesforce Marketing Cloud does really, really well. And there's a couple of areas that there are some shortcomings within Salesforce Marketing Cloud that could really be solved for. And that's what Builder is aiming to do. One of the biggest things as I've gone into the web development space as well is I've seen a lot of discrepancies between the development workflow in a standard software development lifecycle and what you can do development-wise in Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And I'm going to cover some of those areas in this presentation. So first off, what is Builder? So Builder is a workflow tool. Builder helps you automate the updating and creating of local files within Salesforce Marketing Cloud from your local machine. So you're automating your workflow by taking out the copy and pasting. So for me, I like to work in VS Code. Used to work in Sublime. With Builder, the old workflow was working in VS Code, copying and pasting your asset into Salesforce Marketing Cloud, saving it, checking your updates. By doing this type of a workflow, you're risking a lot of confusion for yourself, and you're risking a lot of potential mistakes by not having the most recent, most updated version either in Marketing Cloud or in your local text file. So what Builder does is it offers a way for you to completely remove the copying and pasting of your assets as you're working in your local text editor. The coolest thing about Builder is that it is unopinionated as far as your code editor and your Git provider. So what I mean by that is you can use Builder anywhere you have access to your terminal. So you can use your integrated terminal in Sublime or VS Code. You can use your operating system's terminal or command prompt. Builder does not care. Builder's installed as a global package, so you can access it anywhere. Builder is an open source command line application. So everything that Builder does is run through a series of command line prompts. It's a free tool. It's open to contributions and community input. So if you're interested in supporting open source projects, we're very open, and we really do want the community to have a voice in where Builder goes. It's an open code base. So if you're at an organization that needs to see what's going on behind the scenes, do a security review, any of that kind of stuff, it's all open source. The code base is on GitHub. You can dive in and see the code just as it is. And again, it's free to use in other applications as well. So that we have an SDK that you can import into your own projects and use as you need to. The last part about Builder is it's a code distribution tool. So this part is in beta. We're currently developing this out. It does exist and it is operational. It just needs to go through some additional testing and enhancements. So what this code distribution is, you have your packages, you have your code within Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Builder lets you package that up into a single source of truth JSON file. It grabs and updates all your dependencies. So if you have other code snippet blocks or data extensions that are referenced in your code, Builder will detect them and it will take action based on what they are. Then once you have that code packaged, you can commit that to a public or private GitHub repository, and you can share that with your community or your internal team. So then community members or team members can then install those packages from that GitHub repository and deploy it into any Salesforce Marketing Cloud instance with just a few commands. So why Builder? What would you get out of using Builder in your workflow? So the biggest benefit to this is that you get to code using your tools. You don't have to worry about losing work based on your web browser refreshing, or if you're on a laptop and you accidentally swipe on your trackpad and it goes back to the last page. You don't have to worry about those little hiccups stopping your workflow and costing you hours of development time, since everything is local. You don't have to click in to edit your assets. If you've ever tried to edit a content block in Marketing Cloud that's in an email, it could be anywhere from 3 to 5 clicks just to get into the content section to actually update that. With Builder, everything is local. You have it right there at your fingertips, and it can go and update that asset right back into Salesforce Marketing Cloud. The last part is filling in a very large gap that Salesforce doesn't have at the moment, which is version control. If you're anything like me, when you're doing development projects or working on assets in Marketing Cloud, I like to have backups in version control. So with Builder, by taking your workflow and making it a local-based workflow, you can leverage any Git provider, any Git workflow. So you can use GitHub, Bitbucket, any of the big names, and you can use a command line, you can use a GUI system, you can use any kind of Git workflow. If it's a local file, it's accessible in Git, you can use it. Builder just kind of acts as that connection between those two environments. Builder is secure. So by the nature of what Builder is, it's a third-party application that you're integrating into your Salesforce Marketing Cloud ecosystem. So you do this by an installed package. So with that, you have API credentials. Builder is secure in the way that it allows both server-to-server installed packages as well as web application packages. Those API credentials, when you configure that instance, will get stored in your local Windows or Mac credential manager. So they are encrypted and they are stored securely. Builder doesn't store those in any plain text files anywhere on your system. They are stored where passwords are supposed to be stored. And then I mentioned the web application installed package. So by going that route, you can also enforce the need to log into that Marketing Cloud instance in order to actually use and leverage Builder for that instance. So a little bit of extra security there, and It's been something that a lot of organizations and a lot of people that I've spoken with have been requesting. So it is supported now. So then the other part of this is, again, the packages. If you start setting up a set of reusable code templates that you can quickly deploy into any of your instances that you work in, you can start creating a repository structure of these are the packages that go in for a new instance, deploy them in, and get up and running in a very, very short amount of time. And the other biggest part of this is that you're able to work in bulk. So if you're ever thinking about creating a development project in Marketing Cloud, or have an email that has a handful of content blocks that you want to create to modularize your system, you have to really create every single one of them one by one by one. With Builder, you're actually able to scaffold an entire project and then push everything in that project, in that local directory, into Salesforce Marketing Cloud in bulk, creating assets and folders. So getting configured. Once you get installed, which I'll go through those instructions a bit later, you need to get configured for your instance. The really cool thing about Builder is that you can have multiple different Marketing Cloud instances configured for one instance of Builder. So if you have 3 Marketing Cloud instances, you're an agency or a freelancer that you work within 3 or 4 different Marketing Cloud instances, you can take Builder and you can point it at any one of those instances to have the same exact working environment for any of your instances you need to work in. It's really, really simple to get up and running. Like I said, it's a matter of creating that installed package, running the configuration command, and then putting in your credentials. So once you get up and running with Builder, you need to find your assets. You need to figure out what you need to clone down, or you can initiate a project. If you're cloning existing assets from Marketing Cloud to your local environment, it's done based on your folder IDs. So with Builder, you're able to search your Marketing Cloud instance based on your either your folder name or an asset name. And from that name, it'll bring down a list of results and expose to you the ID and some of the metadata around those folders and assets so that you can make your informed decision on what you need to bring down. The search within the command line prevents you from having to go back into the system and find that folder ID from Salesforce Marketing Cloud, which sometimes can be a task in and of itself. So once you find your asset, once you find that folder ID that you want to clone down, you're able to run a clone command for that folder ID, for that asset ID. And what that's going to do is it's going to go through, in the instance of a folder ID, it's going to go through and get every single subfolder and every nested folder within that root folder. And then it's going to get all of the assets as well. And it's going to create those files locally for you. And by creating them locally, now you have access where they can be version controlled. You have access where you can edit them locally and then push them back into Marketing Cloud to make your updates. So local files means more control. So again, like I said, you have your local files, you have them accessible to GitHub. You don't have to worry about your browser going back, refreshing, losing internet, losing your changes. Everything is locally. So you have a richer file history for that specific file. And then you can efficiently create your full folder structures and schemas within Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And the screen to the right is kind of showing you what kind of comes down when you clone a root folder. So you can see it brings down all your folders, all your subfolders, and all the assets within those folders. And it puts them an exact one-to-one match of what's in Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So what is Builder search and where can you clone? So right now, here is the scope for Builder. So it reaches into Content Builder, your data extensions, and Automation Studio. In all three cases, you can search and clone by folder and assets. And then for Automation Studio, you can get a little bit more granular with it. So you can search and clone for SQL queries as well as server-side JavaScript activities. So you can get a little bit more granular as you go into Automation Studio. So now you have your assets locally. You're making updates. What next? So as you're making your updates, you can very easily do a builder add and a builder push. And that's going to take those files that you are updating and store them in a stash, a holding period, so you can gather a handful of files together in one batch. And then you can update those files in Salesforce Marketing Cloud with one command. If you notice a lot of the commands that you're seeing on the screen, if you're familiar at all with a Git workflow from the command line, they mirror that almost to a T, with a few exceptions. So with this flow, you have the add and the push. So it makes it fairly familiar. So with Builder, there's a couple of different designations between how assets come down and what you're able to really do with them. So on the screen, you'll see a list of fully supported assets. These assets are files that come down as fully text editable files. So what I mean by that is if you are writing an HTML email and you have that as a local text file, it's going to come down from Marketing Cloud the same way you would write it locally. Files that are not fully supported, that are partially supported, will still come down and you can still update and edit them. The main difference is that those files will come down as JSON files. And that's just simply because there's no easy text representation for those types of files. So anything that is partially supported is anything that's not on that list. So I talked a little bit about packaging your assets. So once you have a project that is fully tested, everything is in Marketing Cloud, everything works, everything is how you need it or want it to be. And you're in a situation where you say, I want to share this with my community. I want to share this with the Marketing Cloud community. You're able to package that set of assets, all of those folders together in one file, and then push that to a public GitHub repository, hand that link over to one of your friends, your peers, and then they can download and install that package directly into their Marketing Cloud account. So here is just a quick example of what that JSON file tends to look like. And as I mentioned, it does go through and grab the dependencies and it makes those references. And what I mean by that is if you have a data extension AmpScript function that has your data extension name in it, what Builder's going to do is Builder's going to go through and it's going to locate that AmpScript reference. It's going to grab that name from your AmpScript or that identifier from your AmpScript, and then it's going to go out and grab that data extension. It's going to grab that asset, and it's going to make a reference swap so that when that package gets deployed, it's going to deploy everything that is a zero dependency asset first, and then with those newly generated IDs, it's going to update your other assets that have those as dependencies and then push those in. So as a deployer, as somebody that's pushing in code to a new instance, most of those assets should be tied in, so you don't really have to do a whole lot. So again, with this, you can deploy directly from GitHub. And this just kind of shows that flow of like, it's 3 commands: builder package, builder install, builder deploy. That's really as simple as it is to grab that package, install it on your machine so you can have that file and then deploy it into Marketing Cloud. it's really a really simple flow. So just a typical forward-looking statement. This is something that's currently in development, which is the bldr.io actual web application. And what this is shaping up to be is a hub of packages. So the goal and the vision behind this is bigger than just a command line application. The goal and the vision behind this is to create an open source ecosystem where developers, users, whoever is creating packages or code for Marketing Cloud can put that code in a searchable database where if I'm a user and I'm looking for, say, a preference center or a survey form or any kind of email template, so on and so forth, I can go here, I'll be able to search the registry, and then I'll be able to find those packages to get me up and running a lot faster. So what are the requirements? How do I get started with Builder? So the requirements to install are Node.js, and with that comes down NPM. So that is the basic requirements. If you're using version control, obviously Git. And then to install, it's a really simple NPM script, just NPM install base time bldr-sfmc. On the screen is the link. I'll paste that in the chat. That's the link with all of the getting started documentation. So if you go to bldr.io, all of that stuff will be there on the getting started link. And it has all the details around the installed package, and everything you would need to get up and running with Builder, as well as full documentation around every command that exists currently for Builder. So if you're looking to stay in touch, looking to keep on top of this project as we keep developing it, I am literally all over the place. I'm on the How to SFMC Slack daily. I'm on the Email Geeks Slack daily. I am fairly active on Twitter. So please do reach out to me, have conversations with me if you're interested in getting involved with Builder. We can have those conversations, submit pull requests on the repository, or just have those conversations. We want Builder to be community driven. So if you have a want, a need, let's open that up as a conversation. So big thank you so much for everybody that's helped put on Automation Dreamin. Without these events, we can't really learn new things about our industry and our space. So these events are fantastic. So thank you so much for having me. And thank you everyone for joining my session. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you, Tony. Great job. Let me check and see if we've got any questions. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to drop them into chat. It's over on your right-hand side if you don't know. And we will let Tony answer some. Okay. Give you a couple seconds, but then we're going to let you go on. So, okay. Did you give your LinkedIn and your Twitter? Was that on the last slide?
Yes. Yep.
I thought so. So if you do have any questions that come up, please feel free to reach out and ask Tony directly. All of us Salesforce and Salesforce Marketing Cloud people enjoy chatting with each other. And
I love it. I can't get enough of it.
That's right. So I'm sure he'd be glad to chat with you. But otherwise, have a great day. Jump on your next session, or maybe go get some coffee or tea before your next session, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.